Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, DC Classics, the Riddler. And not only that, this is the Platinum Chase variant. This is sort of the Superpowers homage version. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Josh. He has his own channel, Josh from before. Absolutely super cool dude. He sometimes gets influencer samples sent to him by McFarlane, and I inquired about purchasing the Platinum Riddler, and he said, you know what, I can just send it to you, it doesn't mean that much to me. So he went ahead and did his video on it, even put it back into the box for me so I could do my video intro, sent it off to me. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate it. Very, very cool dude. I'll post a link to his YouTube channel in the description below. Make sure you check it out. He does a ton of McFarlane reviews just like I do. So, let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse the Riddler, McFarlane Platinum Edition. Here's in the package. He has a total of 8 hands, a display stand, a collector's card, and his cane. One side, the Riddler DC Classics. Other side, the Riddler. The bottom, much credits. There's his barcode, but it's going to be the exact same barcode as the regular version of the Riddler. And in the back, here he is, old school style. So without further ado, let's open him up. And here's the Platinum Chase variant of the Riddler next to the regular version. This new one is sort of a homage to the old Superpowers Riddler. He has one purple question mark, totally green suit, whereas the one from the comics has a bunch of black question marks all over his suit. Both really cool figures, both classic version of Riddlers, both very welcome in my collection. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand, a collector's card, 6 alternate hands, totaling 8 interchangeable hands, and then of course, Riddler's signature cane. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the Batman Rogue, the Riddler. His real name is Edward Nygma. Now the standard release of this is the DC Classics version from the Silver Age comics, but this particular Platinum variant is from 2 different things. It's from the old Filmation TV series, Super Friends, as well as the old toy line, Superpowers. In both versions, he had the green jumpsuit, plain green with one purple question mark in the middle, just like this guy. So it's really cool to have both different versions to choose from and to expand on McFarlane's Superpowers homage offerings. So, let's take a look. Now, this guy's done off the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold body. We've seen it a few times before, but we'll look at that in depth later. In the meantime, he's got the purple domino mask, the hair a little bit combed to the side. He's got that smile on his face. He's definitely up to something kind of campy, kind of old school. I like it. He's got the purple question mark on his chest, purple belt, purple gloves, green jumpsuit. He has a sculpted boots, which I don't think looks good, but I believe is accurate to the old Superpowers figure. Not that that's what they're going for. They were just too lazy to change it from the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold body, which I can kind of get over things like that, but it's really not that hard to smooth something like that out. Same time, it's not like Riddler doesn't have any shoes or boots on, so maybe he has green boots on top of the green spandex. I don't know. Either way, the figure looks fantastic. This is what I call smart reuse. It doesn't bother me at all. The only thing noticeable is the stupid abs on the top part of the torso. Just looks weird how they break in the middle. I almost feel like the break could have been just a hair taller to avoid that. Just very noticeable, and it screams the Blue Beetle body. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He looks awesome. Now this guy is part of the DC Classics sort of subline of figures. They haven't made very many, but I love what they've made so far. I want more of this. McFarlane, make more of the DC Classics. I want a Joker, Penguin, Two-Face, Catwoman, the whole 9 yards. Don't get me wrong, I want the modern takes as well, but this is something the line has been lacking in. I love the fact that we're getting at least a few out at a time. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Very well done. Hair looks good. Face looks good. The domino mask, the smile like he's up to something. Just perfect for a classic Riddler. And here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand we've seen a million times before. It's a black perfect circle, very thin, very basic. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the old school classic Riddler from the comics. The Riddler DC Classics On the back side there is a description if you want to read that. Go ahead and pause now. Here's the Platinum Chase variant Riddler's collector's card on the left, next to the standard version on the right. Now that is about the only thing I don't like about the new Platinum figures they make. I love the new repaints and different paint variants. A lot more appealing than the old gray unpainted artist proof figures. But now the collector's cards are the same on the Platinum release and the regular release, and I find that very disappointing. They used to have at least sort of a silver or platinum border around them, or at least something different. They should give us something different again so the cards can be differentiated. Not a huge deal, but definitely something that bothers me. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 8 of them, 4 left hands and 4 right hands. That's something that bothers me about these hands, and it was exactly the same on the regular release as it is on the Platinum release. These 2 hands here are a little bit of a different shade of purple than the rest of them. Not sure how that happens. You can see 6 of them are kind of a purple color, and those 2 are almost like a pinkish. Like I said, doesn't make any sense to me. You'd think they make all the hands in one run, but it looks like these 2 hands were done on a separate run somehow at the factory. Here's a look at his first pair of hands. These are his fists. As you can see, 2 fists are a little bit of a different shade of purple. Not a huge deal, but once you see it, you can't really unsee it. And his left fist here, it's even different from the back part of the glove. Here's his second pair of hands. These are his gripping hands. Once again, paint is mismatched on those guys. Now the funny thing is, 4 of the 6 hands don't actually match the rest of his gloves. Only the 2 sort of oddball hands match the rest. I don't know, they screwed up somewhere along the way. It looks like they screwed up on all the Riddler figures out there. Here's his third pair of hands. These are a pair of open hands. The left hand could possibly grip something rather large, and the right hand is completely flat. I don't know, like he's holding his hand up, telling somebody to stop. And here's his final pair of hands. His right hand has a thumbs up. His left hand has a thumbs up and the sort of trigger finger like he's pointing, or possibly he could be holding up to his mouth, telling you to hush. Now for his Riddler cane. Made all gold. It's got the question mark at the top. Then it's got this sort of swirly thing going all down the bottom. Here's the Riddler holding his cane. He can hold the cane behind his head over his shoulder. He can use it as a regular cane and lean on it. He can do that with 2 hands, and it actually works really well. Now I wanted to check out the differences between the Platinum Chase variant of Riddler and the standard version. And the green jumpsuit is a little bit different shade of green. And then the question marks, he has one single one, it's purple, versus the many different black ones the original release has. Beyond that, it's 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation. So let's take a quick look. Their heads look to be pretty much the same. The domino mask, I don't know, the eyes are actually painted on this guy, whereas they're totally white on this guy. Going further down, the green, a little bit different shade, a little more neon green on this guy. Black question mark the same in the middle, then he has all the other question marks all over him. And the rest is pretty much exactly the same. Both very solid releases. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 7.1 inches tall, which can translate to about 18 centimeters. Now for his articulation, starting with his head. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. You can look up about that far, down that much. Not bad. Tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest. Increase in the range of motion and cover up that large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that. Then his wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. His torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, very good range of motion in his torso area. I'd say you get a little more out of the torso than the waist on this guy. Legs, complete as a splits, not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation, it's minimal. Legs go forward about that much, back not much. Double jointed knees. And then his ankle, his rotation, forward and back, tilt, rock, and of course, toe articulation. Here's a look at my Riddler shelf. It's a little lair, villain's lair that my Riddler hangs out at. Here's a look at the regular DC Classics Riddler, pointing at the Platinum Chase variant in the Riddler base. He looks a little jealous. And a closer look at Riddler. He has his finger up, telling you to hush, or picking his nose. Another look at Riddler, telling you to shush up. Here's Riddler in the streets of Gotham. He's presenting his puzzle box to Batman and Robin, all three classic style. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Riddler figures. Here's the Platinum Chase variant of Riddler on the left, next to the DC Classics regular version on the right. Both very cool. But I will admit, I think I prefer the regular version to the Platinum version, as it's just a little more comic accurate. And here he is, next to the Arkham City Riddler. This is probably my favorite Riddler McFarlane has made. I hope they make a suited version like this based off the comics. Then, next to the Batman movie Paul Dano version of the Riddler, here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Riddler figures. I really want to get a comic, modern version in a business suit. That would be the end-all Riddler for me. And those are not the only Riddler figures McFarlane has made. They also made 3 different variations in the Batman Classic TV series 1966 show, and I could see them making a couple more from that line. Here's this Riddler, next to a DST or Diamond Select Toys Gotham Edward Nygma figure. Here he is, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Riddler figures. Then, next to a Yamato Riddler figure, and now, with all of my Mattel Riddler figures. And here, next to a couple of older Kenner Riddler figures. Here are all the different Riddler figures I have in my collection. I believe I have all of the officially licensed versions in the 6 and 7 inch scale. Here's this Riddler, next to a custom 7 inch scale Edward Nygma in civilian attire that I made a long time ago. Then, next to a 6 inch scale Edward Nygma in civilian attire. Now let's check him out, next to some Riddler henchmen that I have. Here he is, next to 3 different Riddler figures from the Batman movie. At the end of the movie, there was probably 50 people wearing this outfit. So, it works for an army builder. And the fact that he's not a traditional looking Riddler, in my opinion, it works great for a Riddler thug or henchman in the action figure world. And here, next to a couple of custom Riddler thugs, I got these guys on eBay many, many years ago. They kind of make me think of Arkham-style Riddler thugs. Then, next to a few different Jazzwares AEW Wrestling Trent figures, I use these guys as Riddler thugs. You may ask why. On the back of each figure, they have this big, giant question mark on the jacket. I've always wanted to do a few head swaps and maybe paint their chest black so it looks like they have a shirt underneath. Work in progress, Riddler thugs. Now let's check them out. Next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Riddler figures they've made so far. Here are the only 2 figures so far McFarlane has made as Superpowers homage figures, the Riddler and Mr. Freeze, both of which are Platinum Chase variants. I'm surprised they didn't give the Mega figure Calabac the same treatment, as it seemed like it would fit the bill, making a Superpowers Redeco Platinum Chase version. Here's the Riddler, next to the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack. This Riddler uses the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold body. It's really referred to as that because it was first introduced in this 2-pack. It's been used many times since then, and it's a very nice generic body, and it works perfect for this Riddler. Also works perfect for Blue Beetle for that matter. As you can see, it's going to be a different head, exactly the same torso and stomach, exactly the same arms, except he has this extra sort of glove thing out on the top, and that can be removed pretty easily. A different diaper piece, exact same legs, even has that unnecessary boot cut there. 90% the same, but looks completely different. Here's every single McFarlane DC Multiverse figure to utilize the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body. The Flash, Blue Beetle, Riddler, Booster Gold, Captain Atom, and Deadman. Now it's a decent body. Maybe it's a little bit small compared to some of the figures in the line. I wish McFarlane was a little more consistent in that regard. But if they're going to reuse this body over and over and over again, I wish they didn't have the 2 abs at the top. It just makes it very easily, immediately identifiable. But still, I'll say each and every one of these figures looks really good. I'm very pleased with each one in my collection. In addition to that, the wrists are absolutely horrible on this figure. I wish they would address that. Now let's check them out. Next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse Platinum Chase variants. The very first Platinum Chase variants they made were the bronze version of Batman and Joker from Arkham Asylum. Then, they released the gold versions of the Arkham Knight Batman and the Arkham Origins Deathstroke. After that, they released a Platinum Chase variant of Gorilla Grodd from Injustice 2 with silver armor and Dr. Fate in a lighter blue, more comic accurate color scheme. I actually got 3 of these silver Gorilla Grodd figures. I used them for Gorilla Soldiers in Gorilla Grodd's army, and then the gold Gorilla Grodd as Gorilla Grodd himself. Then they released a Platinum Chase variant of Ben Affleck's Batman from Zack Snyder's Justice League. This one has the goggles up, and this is the only Platinum Chase variant that has any sculpting differences whatsoever. After that, they went a completely different direction with the Platinum Chase variants. They went with unpainted artist-proof figures. Very unpopular decision among the collectors, myself included. These guys are just gray. They're unpainted. Sure, you can really see the sculpting details, fantastic. And if you're into customizing, this is really cool to paint them. But they've already released the exact same figure fully painted. You might as well just paint to that one and alter it if you're a customizer. It was a pain in the ass to track each and every one of these down, and 2 of all the Batman-related characters. And they just don't really bring me any joy. They just sort of sit there. Happy to have a complete collection of Platinum Chase variants, but even happier that they went a different route moving forward. A lot of people complained about these. Regular fans that aren't trying to get the Platinum Chase variant. Say you go to Amazon, you see this green, colorful, vibrant Swamp Thing, and then you get this gray thing instead. You're like, what the fuck is this? A lot of people don't even know what the Platinums are. Seen a lot of complaints about that, getting a Platinum when they order a regular, especially the unpainted variety. And I get it. I understand it. For me, it's like winning the lottery, but for other people, it's like, what is this? So McFarlane actually listened to the fans, and they course-corrected. The new Platinums are completely different paint jobs, and most people will not be that disappointed if they get one. Like the Riddler, very close to the normal one. Someone who doesn't even know about the Platinum probably wouldn't even really know the difference. After they stopped doing the unpainted artist-proof figures, here are some of the newest Platinums. We have a darker version of the Jay Garrick Flash, sort of based on the CW TV show. A gray version of the Nightfall Catwoman, sort of based off Batman the Animated Series. And then a light blue and white Mr. Freeze, based off the Superpowers deco. A really cool course correction, if you ask me. They also made a Platinum Chase Batgirl from the Page Puncher, fighting the Frozen Wave. And then they made the Collector's Edition Wave. And to my surprise, all 3 of the figures have Platinum Chase variants. We have the first appearance Superman, then the Alan Scott Green Lantern, and I have the Abyss on the way. After that, they made this Platinum Chase variant of Riddler, which I think was a very cool and clever way to handle that. Here is every single McFarlane Platinum Chase variant they've made so far. I have every single one except for the Abyss, and thanks to a guy that I was talking to on Instagram, I have one on the way. Now, the next Platinum Chase variants, after all these, are going to be the Target exclusive Supergirl figure. She has a Platinum Chase variant. And then the Injustice Superman, he also has a Platinum Chase variant. And I'm sure there are going to be plenty more after that. Now let's check them out. Next is other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman that came in the Amazon exclusive Batman and Batmobile 2-pack. And here he is, next to the Entertainment Earth exclusive Blacklight, Infinite Frontier, Joker, and Scarecrow. And now, next to the Entertainment Earth exclusive sketch version of the Rebirth Superman and the Batman Who Laughs, here's Riddler, next to the Amazon exclusive glow-in-the-dark Swamp Thing and John Stewart Green Lantern. And here he is, next to the 2 most recent Mega figures, the Justice Buster and Anti-Monitor. Then, next to the Hush Superman, the regular version of the DC Classics Riddler, and the Tim Drake Robin. And now, with some McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures, we have the patina variant of Superman in his Unchained Armor and Superboy Prime. Then, Catman and Dick Grayson Robin. Here's the Riddler, next to the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent figures. We have Martian Manhunter, Superman, and the Flash. And here he is, next to the Blue Beetle movie wave. We have the Blue Beetle, Carapace, and Battle Mode Blue Beetle. Then, next to McFarlane Collector's Edition First Wave, we have both versions of the first appearance Superman, Abyss, and then both versions of the Alan Scott Green Lantern. Now all 3 of these figures got Platinum Chase variants. I have Superman and Alan Scott, and then I have a couple of Abyss on the way. Should have them in a few days. And now, next to the Batman and Spawn 2-pack, here's the Riddler. Next to the Dark Knight Trilogy Gold Label San Diego Comic-Con exclusive figures, we have Bane with his coat, Joker as a bank robber thug, and then Joker seen through the sonar vision. And here he is, next to some more San Diego Comic-Con exclusive figures. We have the 85th anniversary Superman, the 30th anniversary Nightfall Batman, the Page Puncher sketch Mr. Freeze, and the Dark Knight's Metal Alan Scott Dread Lantern. Next, let's check him out with some Target exclusive figures. Here he is, next to the Superman vs. Doomsday 2-pack. And here he is, next to some Target exclusive Jokerized stuff. Then, next to some more Target exclusive figures, we have the Sinestro Corps Batman, Ted Kord Blue Beetle, then Impulse and Deadman. And now, with the Target exclusive Flashpoint Wave, Aquaman, Project Superman, and the Flash. Here's the Riddler, next to the Injustice 2 3-pack, Batman, Supergirl, and Dr. Fate. And here he is, next to some recent Walmart exclusive gold label figures. We have the Vampire, Batman, Joker, and Superman. Then Captain Atom, Beast Boy, and Eradicator. Then, next to the most recent Batman wave, we have the Nightfall Batman, Batman Incorporated Batwing, and the Batman Reborn, Two-Faces Batman. And now, next next to the goofy head sculpt Reaper Superman versus Ultraman 2-pack. And finally, next to the 5th wave of Page Punchers, this is a Batman-themed wave, fighting the Frozen. We have Batman, Robin, both versions of Batgirl, and Mr. Freeze. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out, next to some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, here's the Riddler, next to a single rose. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, next to some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a very nice Riddler figure. It is a lot of reuse, but it's smart reuse. It doesn't bother me too much. He's maybe a little bit buffer than he needs to be, but not by much. His articulation is everything you'd expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. His accessories are great, 8 hands in the Riddler cane. The sculpt and paint job are excellent. Now this Platinum Chase variant, it's really cool that they're doing the Superpowers versions in homage to older Super Friends cartoons. But personally, I do prefer the regular version. I like the black question mark. I like the question marks all over him. He just screams the comic Riddler. And I prefer the comic figures to the other figures, although I like them all. This guy's awesome. Really happy to have him in my collection. Huge shout out to my boy Josh from before. Thank you so much. This means a lot to me to get this Platinum Chase variant. It is pretty much the last one I need. I have Abyss on the way, and then I will have all the Platinum Chase variants. Huge accomplishment. Very happy. Thanks a lot. Love this community. Love networking with people out there. If I were to rate this guy, say I gave the other one an 8 out of 10. I don't remember what I gave him. Then this guy would probably get a 7.5. He's close, just a hair below the other version of Riddler. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.